Hey there, comic book people of the world. Issue number 11, the penultimate issue of the Doomsday Clock series, has come out from DC Comics. Whether or not this is going to have like a lasting impact as a whole with the storyline having to do with the Rebirth universe in DC has yet to really been spelled out, but I'm hoping that this may be leading into something even bigger. I'm going to be giving some major spoilers about this issue, so I'm warning you now in advance. If you're a DC fan, then you know that there have been countless delays for this story, and we're not even really quite sure of whether or not it's impacting the DC universe at all like it was supposed to. Especially being that their whole timeline is all really messed up. This is supposed to be taking place somewhat near the future, but not too far into the future. The whole premise of this storyline is to explain what happened with the whole New 52 universe and Manhattan from Watchmen arranging the new timeline with the DC characters, taking away the JSA from the past, but also taking away the Legion of Superheroes in the future, and having the whole DC superhero universe center around Superman, prolonging his actual arrival on Earth several different times, and mixing into this big topsy-turvy, timey-wimey kind of thing where the DC universe is really not cohesive in any way you can possibly imagine. There's a lot of narrative in this 11th issue with Ozymandias explaining exactly what's going on to his captives, which happens to be Saturn Girl, and to an extent Johnny Lightning, and I suppose Alan Scott, because we see an old man with a Green Lantern, and I think that's supposed to be him. We also get a big narrative by Lex Luthor explaining how he himself has been tracking Dr. Manhattan through the timeline, with Manhattan leaving behind a picture every single time he goes through a certain point within their timeline. A major plot taking place is the looming metahuman war that could be taking place between some of the superheroes slash supervillains under Black Adam, and of course there's the major nuclear strike about to take place between Russia and the US. One thing that I really liked about this issue is we have Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman, the holy trinity of superheroes in the DC universe, trying to prevent a nuclear battle taking place, and of course the big metahuman war. But the big point about this issue is we finally have Manhattan and Superman facing each other for the very first time. This is a great story, but being that this is supposed to take place slightly sometime down in the future, we're not really even quite sure whether or not it is going to be impacting the main DC universe. For instance, we have Alfred alive in this, even though he technically has died in the previous issue of Batman that came out. We have Saturn Girl being erased from existence, but then again we have a new Legion of Superheroes being brought into the DC universe. So is she from another universe and she doesn't count, and the new Legion is coming in and there's something completely different? Not to mention that the JSA do not exist in this story. However, in Justice League issue number 31, which also came out this week, the JLA are meeting the JSA from the past. So it's really weird as to how all this is working together. At this point, I'm just assuming that the Doomsday Clock storyline is his own unique story and really doesn't have anything to do with anything else in the DC universe. Which is really unfortunate because I was hoping that this was going to tie everything together with Rebirth, where we had the whole idea that this was going to explain everything that had happened and hopefully make everything seem as though it made sense. But hey, you know what? If you read this by itself without knowing anything else happening in the DC universe, this would be a great issue and this would be a great storyline. Usually I like to talk about a lot of other comic books that are coming out, but I feel like my main focus is on this one because this is the one I've been thinking about the most. Although I do have to say, if you do read another comic book that came out this week, it should be Legion of Superheroes Millennium, issues number 1 of 2, because this is going to be bringing back the Legion into the DC universe, and I think that is an awesome idea, and I can't wait. The final issue for Doomsday Clock, whenever it comes out, because I'm sure it's going to be delayed yet again, is going to be pretty darn epic, seeing Superman face off against Manhattan. And I mean, I've read it all the way up to this point, so I might as well go ahead and finish it out, and whether or not it has anything to do with the rest of the DC universe, you know what, I guess it really doesn't matter at that point, because I think that everyone out there will probably be talking about it when it comes to any type of comic book superhero stories having to do with DC. I know this video is not as coherent as some of my other comic book reviews, but my thoughts are going in every direction I can think of. What did you guys think about this issue? If you read it, leave comments down below, let me know. With that, thank you guys for watching me in this video. Be sure to check out my Patreon site, check my social media sites, my websites, and everything else out there. Peace, love, and I'll see you later. Nice. One thing I was kind of disappointed about in this issue is we didn't get to see a big battle between Wonder Woman and Black Adam. We got a couple panels where he's throwing lightning at her, but that was about it. She was dragged back to Themyscira by the Amazons. We didn't get to see that on panel. I've always wanted to see a big battle between Wonder Woman and Adam just to see how well they can really duke it out between each other.